Good morning and welcome to H3 TV, where we try to come at least once a week and meet you and talk about disruption, about storms, about challenges in life, and then to encourage you. How do we, in the midst of the chaos of our business, of our lives, of our relationships, stay hopeful, healthy, and happy in the midst of all of those things? So today I'm with you, and I always want to remind you, ask questions, make comments, let us know that you're watching, and feel free to write in the chat box anytime. Just say hello, let us know where you're watching from, ask us a question, have us repeat something, but please engage with us. We love knowing that we have an audience out there watching. And so we're so grateful that you're with us. We started this show during COVID when people were feeling alone at home, as they worked alone, as they isolated, and we know that we are created for community and connection. So I thought, can I come to your living room, to your office, and say hello and give you a little encouragement every week? I am Annie Meehan. I'm a professional, certified speaking professional, certified life coach, award-winning author with 9 books now, and I just love using the written and spoken word to encourage organizations and individuals to show up as the exception from wherever they come from and whatever they're going through, to know they can be better. So today I have the pleasure of having my new friend, Sophia, join me. So Sophia, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Annie. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So tell us, who are you? Where do you live? What do you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Sophia DuJardot. I am currently located in Chesterfield, Missouri, and I own Belvoir Studios. I provide voiceover narration for everything from commercials to audiobooks, such as Choose to Soar. And I also do gaming and voice phone systems. I'm the voice everybody loves to hate. Please wait.
Please wait. I like
Yes.
it. You have a beautiful voice. And yes, Sophia and I met because she recorded my audiobook, Choose to Soar, that just came out. So I'm so excited to spend a little time and get to know her a little more. She has a beautiful voice, but is able to articulate and read my book, Choose to Soar, in a way, recognizing the heaviness of it and the beauty of it, so that it can be soothing as much as it might be emotional for the listener. So, Sophia, today when we are on H3 TV, I always like to kind of let my guests share their definition. What do you think of when the word storm or disruption comes up? Just as a definition overall, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, to me, that's anything that's disrupting my schedule. And you can't really use the term to explain the term, but it's something that comes along and you've got a set routine of what you're doing and your day to day. And suddenly, poof, that's gone. And it's a little chaotic and you're going, oh my gosh, now how am I going to move this around and how am I going to change this in my schedule? So to me, that's how I've defined disruption, is anything that comes along during your day and has just changed it. And it's not just your day. It can be a day, it can be a week, it can be a month, it can be a year or more. So that's really what I would define disruption as.
Yeah, those interruptions that kind of stop us and make us they just throw us off, right? Like
Yeah.
they just throw us off. Um, when you think of the word disruption in your oh my gosh, okay, hang on, Facebook, I gotta get to that. Whoops. Oh,
Disruption, classic.
disruption, exactly. Or I like to say those are interruptions. So we have people coming in to spray our house and we forgot about them and our dog forgot about them and we're on live TV.
I love it.
This is life. This is real life. So what I want to think about with you, Sophia, is what is a disruption that you've gone through professionally or personally that really impacted your life?
So this is also, this is very personal, and I really would love the opportunity to delve into this. So I just lost my son in August, and my son was 18. It was unexpected, and it completely changed my world. It changed my family's world, and it reset everything in life, so to say. And it made every day hard, just in personal and in business, and it's something that your book specifically helped walk me through, which I believe the universe dropped into my lap. I just couldn't even believe the timing with it. And it definitely, it changed everything. It changed everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm so sorry for the loss of your son. I think
Yeah.
they say that's the worst nightmare of a parent, right? When we have to say
It
goodbye to
is.
our children before that's not the order that life is meant to be. So I'm so very sorry for the
Yeah.
loss of your son. And I know a bit about those circumstances, but I'm so
Yeah.
saddened by people hurting people in our world. And
Yeah.
it breaks my heart, literally.
Yes, I
So,
know.
so do you want to share a little bit more about how he passed or what were the
Yes.
circumstances around it? And I don't share only
Yeah.
what you're comfortable with. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I do feel it's very important. Part of a decision that I made moving forward was that I don't want to hide anything, and I don't want anything. That's part of why our world is in such crisis, is because everyone wants to cover things up and brush it under the rug and pretend it didn't happen, and we're not reaching out to community and saying, I've been going through this, and there are other people that are also going through it as well. So my son passed away. He died from depression, and I know that sounds, people are like, well, do you mean suicide? Yes, I do. But my son passed from depression. It's an illness that has is an epidemic in the world right now, and that loneliness and sadness is part of why I'm here, wanting to reach out to other people and say, there are choices that we can make, and there are things that we can do when we're going through this type of disruption, that we can unite together and help each other. So, yeah, I absolutely want to talk about what a beautiful and wonderful person he was, and just what an amazing person, how he brought life to everybody else's life, and how much we love and miss him so much. But it definitely, it's taken time to get back in my studio and work on a day-to-day basis. It's very difficult. So,
I think
yeah.
we were meant to meet for that reason as well. As I knew you had lost your son to
Yeah.
suicide. Depression is an illness. I often try to tell
Mhm.
people when you're dealing with people that are mentally ill and they're like, how do you still have
Mhm.
a relationship with someone who's doesn't act the way that we assume people should act? And I
Yeah.
said, would you abandon someone with cancer? No, we love
Exactly.
people with their broken pieces because we all have broken pieces.
Mhm.
And for
That's
me,
right.
mental health and particularly suicide and addiction, depression, losing my brother to suicide,
Mhm.
losing my nephew to suicide, losing my sister and my father to alcoholism. All of that is so interrelated in a form.
It
And so,
is.
again, I'm so sorry for your loss. And I do, without a doubt, Sophia, I believe God brought me into your life. And I
Mhm.
believe
I
there's a
do.
listener out here that right now that has an adolescent or a young adult person or child that they love that's struggling with depression and
Mhm.
suicidal. And so, my hope is that through this conversation, we can be of hope and
Yeah.
encouragement to a listener who has
Yes.
that. And whether you're the listener and you're a parent of, or you're a young person or any age person going through depression
Yes.
and suicide, there should be no stigma and shame around
Mm-mm.
mental health and depression. Get the help you need. I was just telling
Right.
Sophia, I found a therapist. I've been looking for a year and a
Yes.
half. I found somebody yesterday, and she's this woman, and we all need support
That's right.
to get through life and to varying degrees. And we need to be healthy so we can
Mhm.
support other people we love that are
That's
struggling.
right.
So
Yes, absolutely.
August is really recent, Sophia. And so if at
Mhm.
any point something is too heavy or hard, please, no pressure. You know me, my book is really about timing and the right time, right? Great.
Yes, absolutely.
Lots of
Yeah.
grace. So how did you, in losing your son, how did you, in the darkness and sadness of that, how did you stay hopeful to keep moving forward in something so hard?
Yeah, so absolutely at first, nothing felt hopeful. Nothing felt bright or wonderful. There was no, um, it was very dark. It was a very dark place. However, out of that darkness, I found faith was a big piece of helping. The community around me, strangers I didn't even know, took time to sit with me, be with me, let me cry, offer, "Can I get you something to eat? You haven't eaten in 2 days. Let me get you something. You need to go sleep. Let me go get you a blanket." My family came, and I don't mean like 1 or 2 of my family members. I mean my entire family, extended family, cousins, aunts, uncles came to be with me and be with my family. I have 2 other boys, and they were distraught as well, and they came at a time it's this coming together as a family and as a community. The location that this happened in was not anywhere near our house. It was in another state. And so complete strangers were comforting our family and there for us. And that is what initially, what I believe was the seed of hope. It was the piece of going, wow, there are other people who do care and who want to help and genuinely are like, what can we do? How can we make this better? And also who helped in educating our family on the mental illness itself and what transpires from it. I had no idea. I didn't know. And like you said, you likened it to cancer. That's also what the doctors and staff likened it to, as well as that it's an epidemic. It's so prevalent right now in our society that the doctors are just overwhelmed with how many people are so sad and feel so isolated. And that for me, when I started thinking about all of this, I thought, we need to be reaching out to each other. We need to be comforting. And if you're in a position like I was, 9 months ago, my son was very depressed. I didn't know what to do. I had no idea. It's I want other people to know there are other people out there who are in the same position as them and who want to help and who want to comfort and want to stand by them. And that's where the hope comes from. And that's every day I wake up and go, you know, there's going to be these meetings. I am absolutely convinced that in meeting you, it's just part of it and part of this universe going, there's a bigger plan to this. And you are part of so much more than just, one or two people. You're part of a community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. A beautiful answer. I often think when I have the privilege to educate people about suicide and depression is they'll say, when my brother died, I remember people saying, at least he wanted to die. Because unfortunately, 6 months before he
Mhm.
died, my best friend got in a drinking and driving accident and died. And then when my brother died, they're like, well, at least, and I'm like, nobody wants to die.
No.
Nobody wants to die. When you are
Mm,
severely depressed, you no longer know how to live. The light has gone out. The hope is gone. And so
that's
you
right.
think that's the answer. It's not the answer. It's never the
Mhm.
solution. If you're suicidal right now, please get help. Call a
Right.
hotline. I believe 211 is a hotline
Mhm.
that you can call and talk to anybody. So if you're suicidal or you love someone that's suicidal or you're depressed or you're feeling hopeless or like you don't know how you're going to go on, please get help. There is help and
Yes,
you're not alone. But really
that's
what you
right.
said, Sophia, that I think is so important and I cannot stress enough is we need community. We need
That's
people.
right.
And so people get mad at me and I say, go back to work, go back to the office. People are like, I like working from home. I'm like, I work from home too. I get it. There's advantages. But we were not created to be in isolation. And especially for
No.
those of us that are single, we need
Mhm.
people. And
That's right.
because of COVID and people still haven't recovered, they are living alone, working alone,
Yeah.
isolated. So then my anxiety or depression multiplies and becomes bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
the only voice I have in my head is my own. And it's saying,
That's
why
right.
go on? Everything's bad. And I'm not getting the influence of community. So I love that your hope began with people,
Yes.
strangers and friends alike, coming
Yeah.
into your life, knowing what you needed when you could not. You need to eat. I don't care about eating. You need to sleep. I don't care about sleep. Let me get you.
Mhm.
Let me be of comfort and encouragement, and let
Yeah.
me just let you be in the sadness, be in your
Mhm.
own darkness, but you are not alone. And I love the cartoon when Winnie the Pooh and a rabbit comes over to Pooh and says, he's sitting sad on the log and he says, what can I do? Can I talk to you about it? And he said, I don't need anything. And he said, how about if I just sit beside you and be, and I thought
Yeah.
that sometimes we just need people to be there. They don't need to make us better.
Right.
They just need to sit with us in the sadness. So I think hope
That's
comes from
right.
community. Hope comes from
Mhm.
conversation. Hope comes from caring individuals, giving you what you need without shame, just saying, here's
Yeah.
a blanket, close your eyes.
Yes.
Here's a
Mhm.
sandwich, have a bite. Gently guiding you back toward a hope in your life, a reminder that as much as horrific to lose your son, you
Mhm.
have other two beautiful boys that also
That's
still
right.
need their mom. And so taking care of ourselves and letting others take care of us can give us hope. So the next
Yes.
thing I always like to think about, Sophia, is health. And I owned
Mhm.
gyms for 12 years. I had two gyms,
Yeah.
a small town and a big city. But what I recognize in that is that health, a lot of people think of physical, but it is emotional, it is mental, it is financial, it's spiritual, it's relational, it's career, and it is physical. How did you stay healthy in any of those areas
Yeah.
going through the enormous grief of saying goodbye to your son?
Yeah. So I think, again, at the very beginning, when we were going through the hospital and everything, and my son was an organ and tissue donor. So we ended up, the process took a very long time. So it was weeks and weeks and weeks of waiting and just, the initial shock of everything. So I went through a long period where I didn't eat. I also went through a period where I couldn't cook. I couldn't bring myself to do that. My son was a chef, so it was very difficult to go into the kitchen and not just completely fall apart. So I ended up eating out a lot, and of course, when you eat out, you're getting a lot more calories, you're not eating the healthiest of things, and so one of the things that I did to stay healthy, and I loved this about your book, is that you say, "What can you what can you get done for you?" So it's on autopilot, you don't have to do, and that is such an important piece that just really worked. So I ended up going to a company called Fit Flavors, and I just have all my meals made for me. I heat them up, they're fresh, they're healthy, they have their calories and everything. And then the other piece is that every day, and you also talk about this in your book, every single day I get up, I am so thankful to see the sun come up, or if it's raining, I'm thankful for that, or snow. And I get up at the same time every day and I get my workout in first thing in the morning. And I think that that's so important to have that little piece that is yours and yours alone before the day starts and before you tackle the tough emotions of whatever disruptions going on in your life, where you really just have that time to be yourself and just allow yourself to be and show up however you're going to be. And exercising is very good, even if it's just put on your shoes, put on a hat, and put on a coat and go out for a walk. Just go be outside. And even if it's raining, that's okay. We're not going to melt. It's okay. We can be out in the rain and just get outside in nature, have that time, and just try to get everything else on autopilot.
As much as you can. And I do love that. I think I'm
Yeah.
working with a client right now, and she just hired a cleaning lady twice a month. And she's like, people think I'm crazy, but it made me cry. I was so happy because she's caregiver for her mom. And then she
Yeah.
ordered groceries. And I was like, there are things you can delegate
Mhm.
out, even if you're running a business or running a house, and it can help you. So how did you, if you have another tip, and I don't know exactly what it is, but
Yeah.
I know that when people are in the depths of grief and despair and loss, whether it's a job or a child or a significant other,
Mhm.
what kept you motivated? What got you out of bed? Because some people say,
Mhm.
I want to go for a walk or workout. I don't have any energy. I
Mhm.
just can't motivate myself. And I love that you said, wake up at the same time. I think that's the
Yeah.
routine, that's the ritual, that
Yeah.
consistency helps us like stay on track. So
Absolutely.
what was in your mind, do you know,
Mhm.
that got you when you didn't feel like it, when you didn't have the energy to keep going?
Yeah, so that's a big piece, and I think even without life's disruptions, even without the big or small disruptions, we all end up where it's like, "I don't really wanna do this today, I don't really want to," but when you have those disruptions, it's even heavier where you're like, "What's the point of this?" I made a point that when I was laying in bed, and because I did have those moments, and sometimes I succumbed to them, sometimes I was like, "I'm just not gonna do it," and I always felt worse when I
Yeah.
didn't just get up and do it, I always felt a lot worse. Um, but I would sit there and say, "Well, I don't care how you feel right now. This is your time, and then if you wanna feel that feeling after you're done with your walk or after you're done on your rower, whatever it is that, I was doing for that day, after you're done, you can feel that." And as simple as that sounds, just letting my brain know that yes, you can feel those things, but you gotta do this first, and then you can feel it.
Mhm.
It would help. I would get up, start my routine, and then I might have a little bit of time where I would take my time to go sit with my son, just, and have time that I'm just sitting with his memory and sitting with him. And it was like, okay, I've got my time. And that made me feel enough peace that I could then get on with my day. And once you start that, it's like a catalyst for everything else in your day, and it helps keep moving you forward.
So
Yeah.
much so, such good
Yeah.
wisdom. And really what you're saying is you didn't base it based on how did you feel? Because the truth
Right.
is you didn't always feel like it. but you did it
Mhm.
anyway, and it always made you feel better. But then you also allowed yourself space and time to be sad, to
Mhm.
be with your son, to miss him, and you could still feel that and take care of yourself, which
Yeah.
helps us heal, helps us move forward, helps us stay strong in the midst of it.
Yeah.
So Sophia, one of the things that I believe it helps people heal is humor and laughter and happiness. So how did you find a smile,
Mm.
a laughter, happiness, and humor
Yeah.
as you move, as you continue to move through grief?
Yeah. So that has been one of the biggest challenges. I also believe I'm kind of a goofball and I'm always cracking jokes and I love comedies and that's kind of like at my core with who I am as a person. And when that happened in August, I just thought, "Well, I'm never going to laugh again. I'm never going to smile again. That's it." And I found even, while we were in the hospital, we would have, caregivers and people that would come in and just give bring little smiles and little it started off very small and then grew as, we get more involved in community and more involved in other people's lives than our own because other people have this hurt as well, and there's other things going on that are bigger than just us. As we have those interactions, people play with each other. They become lighthearted because you enjoy the company with other people. And so for me, that was the first tilt to being able to smile again and being able to laugh again is having those interactions with other people. And it's real I believe that is one of the most core critical things that we do as human beings is have those interactions with people. We need each other.
We need each other. We do.
Yeah.
And it is like that. When you say that, even I remember when my brother died, sitting
Mm,
at the grave and people were driving by and talking. And I kind of wanted to scream, like, does anyone know the world's supposed to stop? My brother died. But
mm,
I remember that slowly, and you're reminding people again and again, it's the community. It's the
yeah.
slowly coming out of it. And I'm kind of a goofball and quirky and love to laugh and love comedy too, probably why I just think you're so awesome. And so I like, we align on that, like to laugh hard, but there is funny. And even if the funny is
Mm,
just laughing at me, I'm okay with that because we need
yeah.
laughter. And that's part of the healing. And another thing you said, and I believe this, and it literally, um, it brings me so much joy. And it's been a very much a week of generosity for me right now. But one of the things that brings me joy in life is being able to do for others. And
Mm,
whatever that is, on the smallest scale to the largest scale, is being able to serve others gets me out of my own head, gets me out of my, oh
yes.
my goodness, how is this happening to me or whatever. And it just broaden we need each other. There's
Yeah.
so many people hurting. And no matter what we're going through, there's always somebody going through something more, and just sitting with them, opening your door to them, being a word of encouragement. I
Yes.
love that you said that reminder of what was beyond myself, right? In the midst of the
Right.
sadness, as we slowly start to open up and look, oh, there's other people that need me. There's other things. I really
Mhm.
love that. And I think community can bring that. So I have
Yeah.
a question that's kind of silly. I kind of, it's like kind of irrelevant, but I'm always curious about it is, if you could go back a year, 5 years from now, is there something you wish you would have known before
Oh,
you
yeah, that's a tough question.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I'm not sure. I toy with that question back and forth, obviously, about my son, but that's part of where we are today. And you said something about, you're like, "Don't you see what's going on right here, right now?" And all I can say is that I wish I could go back and absolutely not allow this to happen, like, stop it. But I don't know what would happen, like, it's in the movies, there's always, if you do this, then this can happen, and if you do this, then this can happen. I think it's called, like, a butterfly effect, I believe is something like that. So so if I could go back and stop that, and if I knew that that was going to happen, there may also be a piece of, well, it could happen a different way. It could happen and while this may sound a little dark, we are all here on this earth temporarily. We are. And a friend of mine told me right after Liam passed, which I just thought this was so beautiful. I didn't like it at the time, but it's beautiful. We are here for the living. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, you know what? We are, we are here for each other. We're here. And so I don't know that we can change the past, but what we can do is learn from the past, grow, and move forward into the future to where we can say, I've learned from this situation and I want to do better in the future and I want to be there for other people. I want to be present. I want to have community and I want to reach out to other people. And there are things that happen in our lives and they happen to, we just don't know. We could walk out and be in a car accident tomorrow. That's just the way things are. So I don't know. That's a hard question. And the only thing I can truly definitively say is that I just want to make sure that I'm growing and learning from the past to have a better future and to impact the lives of other people and be there for other people.
Love
Yeah.
it. Well, that kind of leads into the next question. And I think you're 100% right. We can go back. I always have wondered that. And I think, but so you detour here and then maybe some other, we just don't know.
Yeah.
But my next question for you is and one thing you said already is, I've learned a lot about depression. I've learned a lot that I didn't know. And I always think every hardship I've gone through in life has taught me something beautiful that has allowed me to help someone else. And so my next question is, what have you done or what are you doing or what do you hope to do to use this heartache, this pain as a piece of your purpose to help other people? Is it Lean? Is that what his name was?
Liam.
Liam, how has
Yes.
the loss of Liam helped you to serve others or to communicate? How have you seen it?
Yeah, so just starting with Liam in what Liam's continuing legacy is, we made a decision for organ and tissue donation, and Liam ended up bringing sight to 2 people. He saved the lives of, I believe, 12 people.
Wow.
He's part of multiple researches. So in that, Liam himself of this tragedy saved many other people, and then and we were talking about butterfly effect, that then ripples out to all of the people that they are in touch with and that they, the lives that they impact. But for me personally, it's having contact with those people that were the organ and tissue donors and sharing Liam's story. I think that that's really important. There's a very good story and lesson from this. But it's things like coming on here and saying, I want to talk about this. I lost my son to depression. I don't want to hide this. That was one of the questions I got. Well, what are you going to say? And I'm like, well, if, a family member passes from cancer, do you go, well, do you sweep that under the rug or hide that? You don't do that. You say they died from cancer. My son died from depression. And voice needs to be heard. We need to have those conversations. And we also need to have conversations. And what I'm personally looking at doing, I'm still in counseling, of course, is being able to reach out into the community. There are programs that help teenagers and help people going through that feel so isolated. And it's, for me, how can I get involved with those programs in order to help others? And also, another goal that I have is I would like to be there for people on the other side of it that are dealing with, oh my gosh, I am trying to help support this person going through it and I don't know what to do. And just being, hey, you're doing a good job. You're doing everything you can. And that side also needs to be heard and recognized, because when someone is supporting someone going through mental illness, it is very hard on the caregiver, on family. It's hard. And unfortunately, they may not get the support that they need as well.
That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's connecting. It's just trying to connect with people and trying to, connect in a world that's very isolated right now.
That's very disconnected. And you're right. I often think about my work. Some people call me a mental wellness expert. I get to be the voice for the voiceless. I get to stand up and talk about addiction and suicide and mental health and depression and anxiety without shame. And if you judge me for that, it's okay. You're not my person. I think people don't know. And I think people don't understand, and people think it's a thing you choose or a thing you should suck
Mhm.
up buttercup. And it's not. And people that are mentally ill and have lived with it their whole life and then are shamed and judged on top of already being a little lost, it's worse. So whether you
Mhm.
can be a voice, Sophia, and an advocate and a voice for the adolescents, the teenagers, the young adults,
Yeah.
or for caregivers, or for moms that seep into their own depression after losing a loved one, all of those things matter. And the more we can talk
Yeah.
about it and
That's right.
destigmatize it and be connected in community. And that's what for me is that when I work with organizations and they're just like, I don't know, I don't really want to deal with the anxiety or depression, or is that real? And I'm like, okay, first of all, real. And
Yeah.
everybody has depression, anxiety, but some is small and some is larger and some is overwhelming. But if we can talk about it and recognize it, I mean, I remember taking mental health days, I guess, wow, it's been a long time. 25 years ago when I worked for a corporation, I thought, when your energy is depleted and you need to sit and watch rom-coms all day,
Yeah.
take that day so that you can refill up, relax, and not be so overwhelmed.
Right.
Go back and do a better job at work. And that's what part of my work is, educating organizations to say,
Mm.
don't care about the individual. And if they're depressed or anxious and they're not getting therapy or getting the help they need and they're showing up, they're not doing a great job for you
That's
anyway.
right.
And because they'll say, where's the ROI? And I'm like, the ROI is you're retaining them because you care. The ROI is they
That's
recognize that you recognize all illnesses equal, from cancer to heart disease to depression to anxiety. And that
right.
is why I do a lot of my work, is like, I got to speak up because I'm not afraid. And if you judge me, that's on
Mm.
you, not me. But if I
Yeah.
don't speak up for the people without the voice, then we're going to continue to have suicide and loss and isolation
Mhm.
and self-hatred, because you don't know that you're worth anything because your disease is
Yeah.
stigmatized in a different way
Yes.
than other diseases. So I love that
Mm.
you're learning. I love that you're sharing. On a more uplifting and happy note, and more back to your business and your work, what is a success story, something really positive, a story, an experience that you're really proud of in your work or your life that has impacted the world in a positive way?
Ooh, impacted the world.
Okay,
It's hard to
impacted
say when it's like, "The
I'm there.
doors are
I'm with
closing." I make sure people know those doors are closing.
Hey, you do books, so that's pretty cool, I think. So,
Yes, absolutely. So that's a really interesting question. So I try to make it so that whenever you call in, and this is for everyone out there, when you call in and you've got the automated service, most of the narrators of the world genuinely care and are like, let's not do this. Let's make it a little bit nicer. Let's not have the terrible voiceover system. So when you call in, we try and make it a pleasant experience and without a lot of verbiage, a lot of words going on. You're going, what number do I press? I don't even know what I'm doing here.
okay, I'm gonna give you a better one, Sophia, because I will already give you credit and say that my book, Choose to Soar,
Mm.
is a heavy book. It's a
Oh, it
hard book.
is.
It's an
It is.
important book. But
Yeah.
Sophia is my Audible reader, and she's my narrator for my Audible that came out this week. And she makes my book easier to digest. She brings the beauty, the pause,
Mhm.
the power of this book. And so I'm already claiming it, whether she's claiming it or not. This book is going out across the world. Book is
Yes.
going to be somebody holding your hand through the hardest days
Mhm.
of your life, whether that is professionally getting laid off or filing bankruptcy in a
Mhm.
job, whether that is personally through diagnosis or death, whether that is literally through tornado or hurricane. What I wrote has a lot in it.
Mhm.
It's a lot of information. It's heavy, it's hard,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, it's hopeful, it's all the things.
Yeah.
But Sophia reading the book and being in your ear as you listen will make you feel just a little bit less alone.
Mhm.
Will make you feel just a little bit like myself and Sophia are sitting there at your coffee table when you don't have the strength or energy to go on, and we are holding your hand and we are in it with you, and you are not alone. We already feel so disconnected, but in the midst of the devastating disruptions of our life, it is so easy to feel even more alone. So I am claiming that is going to be one of her greatest successes of her life.
Ah, yes. I love it.
So
And
I
Annie,
like
that is
your
so
elevation.
true. As I was reading the book, and there you have a part in your book that you talk about, "I'm here. I'm with you." And And I have my family members that were listening as I was going just to make sure they're checking words and they're listening. Second set of ears of, I think this pause was a little too long, or, just a little bit of feedback as I'm doing it. And I actually had my mother come to me and she said, Sophia, this book, she was just trembling and she was like, this is it's so overwhelming and beautiful and wonderful. And I said, Mom, when I was reading the part that's like, I'm here with you, I cannot express. I felt that sitting there. I felt not only, Annie, that you were there with me as I'm reading it and narrating, but I said, I just put into the microphone and into the universe that I hope that the readers know I am also there with them, and genuinely mean that. I mean, that's the most authentic that you're going to get right there and saying, I had to pause and just put my hand over my heart and I just sat there for a minute. I was like, whoa, wow. Yeah, it's a beautiful book. It is just I've been recommending it to everyone.
I feel like I'm getting teary because it is so emotional
Mm.
for me still. I feel like we're definitely still in the storm. We've had
Yeah.
4 fire alarms go off at 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. and 11 p.m. in the last couple days, and 4 p.m. And I'm still in this storm, and I still feel super emotional about the
Mhm.
privilege to speak into people in their storms. But what I was just thinking about, Sophia, is maybe we can like start a movement and we could ask people, are you with us? Will
Mm.
you, as you read, as you listen to this podcast, to the book, will you say, I am there too? Because wouldn't it be so cool to feel
I
like
love
movement around the world? Like, here's a hug from somebody in Florida, somebody
Yeah.
here, somebody there, all around the world. We're with you. Because
Yes.
when you already feel alone and then you go into darkness and loss and grief
Mm.
and disruption, you feel even more alone and
Yes.
more in. And to just imagine surrounding people with love and with hug. I'm sending it to you. I'm sending it to you. I'm in. I'm here
Yes.
too. I'm here too. Like I can just all of a sudden when you were saying it, I was like, oh, I see it popping up on Facebook. I'm here too. It's on Amazon. I'm with
Mhm.
you too. You're not alone. You're not alone. Just like physically people came around you as you said goodbye
Yeah.
to your son, people showed up. Sometimes people don't have people. I never assume somebody has a significant other or a family or parents. We don't know. We all have different stories, but if we knew whoever was listening, whoever was reading, I'm here too. And they can
Mhm.
feel what you feel and what I sent and what you're sending out into the world. Like, I don't, I just,
I love that.
right?
Yeah, I absolutely would love to see that, and it really is true, and it does feel there are people that come out and it's amazing. The universe just sends people. It's amazing, and there are people care about you. People care and want to be part of your life and your world, and it's really a beautiful thing, and to know that I care right here. I care.
Yeah. And there's angels on earth, and there's people that do care, and you're not alone.
Yeah.
There's people that don't judge, and there's plenty of people that always judge, but who cares? Be one of the
Yeah.
ones. My girlfriend Cheryl and I talk about standing in the gap when
Mm.
there is just when you are overwhelmed and you're just lost. Stand in the gap. Be the
Yeah.
person that I'm with you. I'll show up. I
Yes.
care. I'll
Yeah.
send a hug. I'll send love. I'll
Yes.
send prayers. Whatever you need, I can step in. And though I may not be able to be with you physically, emotionally, and through love and prayer, I will be with you. And so, I don't know. I love that. That's just
I
really
do.
really
Yes.
beautiful. Well, Sophia, I love working with you and doing this audiobook. This has been such a fun podcast to do together, a talk show, as I call it, my live talk show.
Mhm.
So, how can people get a hold of you? You know, I have a lot of friends that have written books and they've considered Audible, but it can be overwhelming to consider. It's so easy, so much smoother and easier than
Yes.
my second book that I did. And so, or this is the second book, but my second book I wrote, I did Audible. But how can
Yeah.
they get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach out to you or connect with you?
Absolutely, they can always go to my website, which is www.belvoirstudios.com. It is a French word,
Oh,
so you just look up but also my Instagram page, there's a lot of ways to connect with me and contact me. I always provide free consultations, and if I'm not the right fit for someone looking, if you just have questions about how to take your book to an Audible level and getting it converted, even if you're wanting to do it yourself, I am more than happy to help and guide you on the right path, make suggestions. I'm available for questions at any time. You can just send me a message, direct message on Facebook, Instagram, my website, and you can text me at any time. So, yeah.
Awesome. I love that. Somebody wrote on Facebook this week, is an Audible book really reading a book? And a couple people said no. And I was so like, that is so close-minded of you. And the reason I think
Mhm.
that is because people say readers are leaders, and I always say learners are leaders.
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
just was hanging out with a guy who's blind, and he listens to 10 books a day.
Yeah.
To say that that's not reading is to decide there's only one way to learn. Audible books are a beautiful way to learn, to
Mhm.
listen, to connect while you're driving, while you're walking. If you can't see, if you learn differently, if you're an
That's
Audible
right.
learner, not a written learner or a watcher learner, there's so many different ways. And so I think Audible books are such an excellent resource to expand for those people that, or people that are aging or don't have the best eyes overall. And, my mother-in-law
Mhm.
used to read a lot, and reading's hard for her now. Well, she
Mhm.
can listen and still feel like she's with her books and escaping life that can be hard.
Yeah.
So I love what you're doing. I think
Yeah.
Audible books and easy to listen to Audible books are so important. You have such a beautiful voice. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for being my guest today. I am going to have
Absolutely.
Sophia share her link to her website in our comments so you can click and connect with her. If you're considering doing anything Audible, I cannot highly recommend her enough. Easy to work with and just a beautiful voice that really takes the time to get to know your work and you, so she can bring your authentic voice to your book and to your material. So thank you, Sophia, for being with me. Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you to our listeners. Please remember, you can ask any questions or make comments in the chat, and myself or Sophia will both respond to you. Take care and have a great day.